Hello everyone, JK Origami here, and today I'm going to teach you how to fold my variation of one of my earlier models, the Poinsettia, the Origami Poinsettia. This is version 2. So this model, like I said, is a variation of my earlier model from last year, or I think it was last year, and it's a little more complex. I like the look of it. It has the same aspects, like it can still hold the chocolate if you want it to. It's a little more fancy. The other one was more of a quick fold for the table piece, but this one's a little fancier and takes a bit longer to fold, especially with the pre-creases and if you want it precise. So, yeah, for this one, I use printer paper cut square, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to use 15 by 15 centimeter kami, which is, by the way, what I would recommend for folding this model. So, I hope you managed to fold my other poinsettia, since it was pretty easy. But if you didn't fold it, I recommend you try that first, just so that you get a feel for how this origami will work. Okay, so if you want a colored model, you are going to start white side up. So we're going to fold the diagonals and both halves, like that. And that. Okay. And then the halves. And you want to make these creases very precise, just to make sure your model turns out well. Make sure you have your center marked well, so you see all the creases intersect. You don't want it where sometimes your creases are a little bit off, because that'll affect the model. So you're going to fold all 4 corners into the center. So like that. And again, just keep going until all 4 are to the center. And then once you have it, you are going to fold all the other 4 corners to the center. So now you're folding the new corners up to the center. And then you have to repeat, once you have this, one more time. So you're folding these corners up to the center. By the way, a 15 by 15 centimeter paper will hold the chocolate perfectly. Okay, so once you have this, we're going to make sure, well, first of all, make sure it's creased very sharply, because you have quite a few layers and you need all these creases later on. And then you can unfold all the way back until a flat sheet of paper. Okay, now it looks something like that. Quite a few creases. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold the water bomb base. So we're going to do that by folding the diagonal at the same time. Squash. Make sure you're going along that crease. And then you can fold this over to one side, stick your finger in, open it up, squash along both diagonals, and there you go. So, now what we have to do is, you can see we have this fold here, which is the only one going across. We're going to make this a valley fold. So fold it upward, like that. And then now what we're going to do is you're going to fold along this crease, like that. And you're going to push this layer in along that crease and that crease and fold it up. And then you can fold it back down. Or if you're having trouble with that, you can just flatten along this crease and then flatten along that crease. And then just make an inside reverse fold along the two. So there, like that. So, and then you need to fold these two flaps down. And you need to fold this flap down as well. So now what we're going to do is, actually you can fold this flap back up for this step. So I'm going to zoom in. And you can see how these flaps fold up here and create a crease. And this crease goes down. So you have a center. You're going to bring this edge to the center, like this. And then repeat on this side. So these two are going to the center. The reason we had to fold that other flap back up was just so that we have two flaps on each side. So you can see these two and these two. So we're making an equal crease. And then crease sharply, and then unfold. And now we have to make an open sink. So you're kind of going to open up the layer and reverse the creases we just made. So you're kind of reversing the square and reverse the square. Once you have that, you're going to reverse all the other creases to whatever they weren't. So diagonals become valleys, and the horizontal and vertical become mountains. Then you can squash it, and it should lay flat again like this. So now repeat on this side. So I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. Okay. Alright. So once you have that, looks something like that. Now we have to do a step. So we're going to focus on this side. So you see how, I'm opening up the layer a little bit. So you see how we have these two creases along there? We're going to make those mountain folds. So that goes mountain, that goes mountain. And then as we do that, you'll see this layer wants to come out. So make this crease in there a valley fold. And then it should squash together like that. Then you need to make mountain folds or valley folds along there. And the way you can do that is just by bringing all the layers together. So make sure they align and just bring it like that. So then you have something like that. And then now what you have to do is you have to repeat on the bottom. So I'm just going to make these two creases. Okay, and then make the valley fold and then squash everything all together. So now you'll see you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you count all of them. So you have 5 flaps total. Okay, so once you're done that, we're going to repeat on this side. So it's a little bit more tricky this side because you have these flaps blocking, but you can just repeat. It's not that difficult. If you do it correctly, it's not too difficult. So then once you have that, as a setup for the next series of folds we need to make, you can just pull, find the middle flap, so count 1, 2, the third flap from the top. You're just going to grab it and gently pull it out and squash it like that. Okay? So now I'll zoom out, and I have to repeat on the other side. So I'm just going to grab the flap, pull it out, and then it looks like that. So now it needs to be repeated on this side. So I'm going to go faster. If you need to see it again, please re-watch the part of the video where I did the other side. So once you have the other side done, once you have both sides done, we're going to start with a little more collapsing. And if you want, when you're doing this part, you can put all the steps together and then just do once with it open. Okay. So once you're done, you should have something like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to rotate it so it looks like this. And then you're going to bring this point up to this intersection. Crease it. Now we need to open sync. So the way you do that is you open up everything else. That. And then you flip it over and you put your hand inside. And again, you're reversing all the creases. Okay. And then once you have that, just push the flap back in. And again, reverse all the creases inside. And then you can squash it and remake anything that came undone here. For me, nothing did. And then you have something like that. So now what we have to do is we have to make a few more pre-creases. So we're going to take this. Okay, so I'm going to hold mine like this. We're going to take this diagonal like this. Make it a mountain fold. I'll zoom in so you can see it a bit better. But you're going to make this a mountain fold. That. Okay. Just the one layer. And then you're going to align it. You're going to align that edge with the center. So it's a bit difficult to show. But basically, it looks something like that. And then what you do is you hold down this layer so that you can see the other crease, just going right along there, and then you just lift the layer over. And then you can crease, and then you can unfold it, and then you have these two creases. So you're going to repeat on the other side. So again, I'm just going to go a bit faster. And then once you've done that, flip it over and repeat on these two flaps. Okay, so once you're done with that, it's best if you fold this edge over to the right, flip it over, fold this edge over, fold only one. Oh, this came undone. Fold only one edge over to the right, and then you're just going to reverse. These are, again, pre-creases for the next step, so it's best if you have all the folds both directions. So you can just go through all the layers and reverse. I'm not going to do all of them. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's not a necessary step, but I find it's helpful. So once you've done that, I'm going to zoom out. Okay, so once you've done that, now we pretty much have to kind of just open up the model. So what we do is we start with the middle layer, kind of fold it out in all directions. So just kind of open it up. Okay, and then you should have something like that. And then you kind of make these creases that we have. Just reinforce them now that you have this part. Okay, and then once you have finished reinforcing them, look something like that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to open up the model. So you see you have these creases in there. You're just kind of going to squash it along the existing creases. So just open it up, and you see the layers, they don't really want to open. You can fold this layer both directions and repeat with all the others. And then when you're done, it should look something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to fix up my creases a little bit. And then once you've fixed everything up, it looks something like this. These corners should want to come to the center. And then, there we go, that's basically it. So, now we're going to work on these outside flaps. So you're kind of going to flip the model over, and you're going to bring this crease to the center. And if you folded it, it should be able to just make it without hitting that corner. Or without being stopped by the corner, rather. It will hit it. So you repeat on both sides, and then if you flip it over, you have something like that. And then you're going to repeat on 3 other sides. And again, if you folded it really precisely, you should have no interference from any flaps. Although if you did it a little imprecisely, you may have to make a couple squashes so that the paper will lie flat. Okay. So, once you are done, it should look something like this. And then you can turn it back over. And now what we have to do is, in order to shape it a little bit more, we're going to make a couple pre-creases. So it's a little tricky to show, but you have a crease something like that along the petal. So I'm just going to make it like that. And you're going to bring the crease to the very bottom. So fold it this way and bring the crease up to it. Kind of like that. Then you're going to unfold. You can reverse it, I'm not going to, but then you open it up and make it a squash fold, sort of like a petal fold, but there you go. And then repeat. So I'm going to go a bit quicker, just because this step isn't too difficult. Okay, so and this step here, this is just so that it can hold the chocolate, and also so that you can shape the petals a little bit better. Okay. So now once you've done that, the center should be a little more open, and you can shape it a little bit. I'm not going to bother, this is good enough. So then what we need to do is, we need to kind of make a fold inside. So we're going to take this point and bring it in right up to the corner we have in there. So underneath, it's this corner right here. So we have an imaginary, basically, it's the edge is, the line we're going to make is over here. So right over there. It should go right through this point, or just about, and through that intersection. And it'll align with that point inside. So there's no way to make, the best thing you can do is kind of unfold this layer, open it up, and bring it to the intersection where that corner would be. Okay. There we go. That's done. Okay, and then you can fold it back and fold the corner back over, and then you have it locked a little bit better. So repeat on the other side. So I'll open it up, fold it in, okay, and then bring it back over. And there we go. So I'm just going to repeat, and this is basically the step that finishes up the model. So try to make it as precise as possible. Basically, the slower and more precise you do it, the better the model will turn out. Since I've folded a bunch of these, I'm going a little bit quicker than what you should probably be going. But yeah, I'm not really doing a good job either. I'm just going through the video. So almost done, only 3 more. Oh, I missed one. Whoops. Okay, so there we go, and last one. There we go. So now just remake all the pre-existing creases. So I'm going to flatten these back down. Or you know what, you can even lift them up a little bit and have the edge open. So you can lift up the layer a little bit more if you like that better. But to hold the chocolate, it's best you push it down about halfway. And then once you're done, it looks something like this. And that's how you can leave it, or you can kind of reinforce these two creases like that. And then the flower, these petals will kind of stick up. That. I prefer if it's just flat, but that's just me. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this variation of my flower. Thanks for subscribing if you have already, and if you haven't, please subscribe for more cool creations, and like this video, and I'll see if I can make some more flowers, especially since it's the beginning of spring. So, as always, thanks for watching, and enjoy.